All right, today is Sunday, August 10, 2025. I just hefted the El Quattro on the Skywatcher EQ-R6 Pro without the battery. But I do have the battery hooked up now, and I've got the power turned on. To give you an idea what the sky's like, let's go have a look at the mountain. So here we have Canyon Mountain off in the distance. Pretty sharp view, not a lot faint clouds in the sky. We've got a lot of blue up there. Probably the best night I've seen in a long while. There's only one factor of some note. This is only about a day and a half after the full moon. The moon will probably rise sometime about 8:45. Sky dark won't arrive until after that. Current time, and I have a sat clock here to determine it. Nestled in my arm, sorry for that. 7:32:48. I have to go over here and set up. So I've already organized the mount in such a way that it's roughly pointing directly towards Polaris. You'll see I have the Binoviewing on it. The last time I've been out was probably day 10 in the lunar cycle, and that was with the Binoviewing. I did some visual astronomy. Okay, so what do I have to go through after I've mechanically set up the scope? Well, I tell it, yeah, I am starting from park, and I am going to step through it. It gives me a warning. Don't look at the sun. Never look at the sun with a telescope. Even with your bare eyes, it's problematic. And even when the sun's setting, you got to be very careful about that. Got to set up the date. Today is the 10th. Here I go, enter, and the time is the critical factor. The sidereal clock moves very quick. Call it 7:34. 7 plus 12 is 19. Go a little bit further. 34, enter. I probably do want to set it for something like 05, enter. Okay, now we've got the date and time. However, until the sun sets, and you can see it's still glistening over the top of the eaves of our neighbor's house, I can't really do a star alignment. Now, the last time I was out here, the moon was deeply to the south, so I was able to use the moon as a preliminary orientation of the scope. So I've discovered a way that works pretty well with the scope, and that is not to even bother aligning too much to Polaris. Just make sure the scope is bubble leveled. It's pretty much bubble leveled down there, and once I do that, then I orient to the first study in the night sky, make some mechanical adjustments to center it up, return to polar parking, and then go from there. Okay, let me share with you what I did the other night. On a 10-day moon, this is probably a 15-and-a-half-day moon tonight. On a 10-day moon at 10 p.m. I had high thin clouds on the 150 El Quattro fast newt. Used the Binoviewing. I determined based on the size of the moon in the field of view that it was about 50x. No filter. This was on August 7th. So 3 days, 7th. 3 days ago. Must have been more like a 12-day moon. Anyway, so I observed a whole series of studies, one of which was 5907, which is optimally viewed through an 8-inch scope. It's called the Splinter Galaxy. Magnitude 10.3, 13.3, average surface brightness in Draco. It's a very edgy-on appearing galaxy. Splinter, 12.6 by 1.4 arc minutes in size, and I could not quite make it out. Maybe a little bit of eye movement, but it wasn't good. I also went to 5866, which is a neighbor of 5907. Dash 20 again. 9.9 though, a little brighter. 12.2 average surface brightness. Smaller, 4.7 by 1.9 arc minutes. It was a bit early. I didn't really see it well, but later I confirmed it. So somewhere between these two galaxies was the limit. Now both of these are in Draco, which is about as far from the moon as I could get and still be in the sky's middle third. There were some other studies that night. 6229 is for a 10-inch telescope, 9.4, 12.5 in Hercules, 4.2 arc-minute size globular cluster. I made that out pretty well. 6207, that's that Egeon appearing galaxy near Messier 13, 11.6, 12.9 in Hercules, 3 by 1.3. No sign of it, but I may have seen the star that is before it. Messier 107 is a -20, which means 8-inch scope, 20 centimeters. 6171 is also its NGC number. 8.1 by 13.7 in Ophiuchus, so down close to that moon. 13 arc-minutes in size, globular cluster, nada. That's got a pretty faint average surface brightness. Notice that number. Came up here with 5907 to the splinter. Okay, I went on to M9, which is brighter. 7.6, 12.5, but again in Ophiuchus, 9.3 arc-minutes in size. Globular cluster, maybe. Now, I'm not recording whether I saw it averted or on eye movement. I basically want to hold these studies because they should be bright enough under normal skies to turn up. Messier 19, 6273, NGC globular cluster, bright. 6.8, 12.5 average surface brightness in Ophiuchus. 13.5 arc-minutes in size. I did definitely make that out. That's fairly bright. Messier 56, slightly fainter than 19. It's also NGC 6779, globular cluster, 8.3 by and 12.6 average surface brightness in Lyra on the border to Cygnus. 7.1 arc-minutes in size. Yeah, that one was pretty good. So give me a moment here and I'll flip the page over. So now we'll go on to Messier 10, also NGC 6254, globular cluster, brightish, 6.6, 12.5 ASB, 15.1 arc-minutes in size, quite rough. It was tough early, but later visible as the sky darkened. Of course, Messier 10 and Messier 12 are in Ophiuchus, so barely in the sky's middle third, but down near that moon. Messier 12, 6218, globular cluster 6.8 by 12.6, average surface brightness, 14.5 arc-minutes in size. Messier 12 was obvious, but M10 could only be seen later as the sky darkened. I also went on to look at Messier 27, 57, 81, and 82. They were all obvious. NGC 6287 and 6284 were too far south for viewing. Did a whole bunch of warm-ups, 81, 82, 57, 13, 92, and 22. Now, that's going to be two nights' views on the 10th. So I'll have a look again at Messier 81, 82, 57, 13, 92, and 22, which is in Sagittarius. The new studies will be Messier 8, 16, 17, and 20. Those are all reflective or emissive nebula. Most of these other studies, once again, are an hour 18, which is close to culminating by 10 o'clock this evening. There'll be 6217, it's a -10-inch optimal view. Now, all of these should be visible through a 6-inch scope. That's the way I set up the Astro Geekjoy Star Atlas. Everything in it should be visible on a sky where it's transparent to magnitude 5.5 stars, neighboring these studies. 6503 is another 10-inch study. 6543 is a 4-inch study, so it should turn up pretty well tonight, although it could be fairly far south. 6572 is a -10, another 4-inch. Messier 14 is for a 6-inch scope, should resolve some stars. 6539 is a -30. That could be right. That's not likely to be seen tonight, but I wanted something on the limits. 6356 is a -20 or an 8-inch. 6342 is a -30 or a 12-inch scope. We have Messier 23, which is for a 5-inch scope. 6445 is another 12. 6440, another 12. 6469, another 12. 6401 is another 12-inch scope. There should be 23 studies plus some adventitious ones tonight. I'll make a list of what's seen, what may have been seen, and totally unseen, possibly with some notes. So that's the plan for this evening. Now, I may get the camera out just to record voice later on so I can put an entire video together, but maybe what I will do is just review it at the end. I'm unsure about what I'm going to do in that regard. Anyway, should there be no more video taken during this series tonight, Carpe Noctem. Okay, let me capture a little bit of this for you. Okay, I got out before, an hour before sunset. There's scribbled notes here. M13, M57, M92, and M27. M29 was nice. M56 I could not see an hour after sunset. So a lot of the Messiers, about half of them are turning up, visible within an hour of sunset. Number one, M29 looks really nice. Nice sprinkling of stars. Kind of looks like a teapot, actually. M11 I did not see. A nice view of Messier 29. M9 was not seen either. M26 was a no-show. So, of the Messiers, an 81 and 82 unfortunately are now, because of where I position the scope, are behind the eaves of the house, blocked by the roof. Okay, the sky has still got color in it. We have yet to arrive at sky dark. I'll go ahead and probe it a few more. I want to do some nebulosity this evening, but the moon's going to rise a little after 9. I want to see if I can turn up Messier 8, 16, 17, and 20. Should be challenging because of the moon. Then I'll go on to some galaxies and other studies in the NGC series. All right, so that's my notes so far. Well, folks, the sky's about as dark as it's going to get. It's 9:42. The moon is looming very bright to the north and the east. I try to make something out here. Let's see. Don't think if I mentioned it, but M56 I did catch it a little bit earlier. I did catch M81, 82, but with half the aperture of the scope blocked. NGC 58, 66 I did a little later, early on. I couldn't. It was a big maybe, but 58, 66 I did catch it later. There was an NGC 6503. It looked to be in a triangle with 2 faint stars. That's a maybe. 6217, it looks like I got that unseen earlier. 5907, unseen earlier. And I just looked for it and I could not make it out. So only 5866, it was a maybe earlier, about 10 minutes later, and I could make it out as a vague nebulosity. So it's time to head south. I do have some studies in the NGC series, but first I want to tackle a few nebulosities, beginning with Messier 8. Okay, went after the nebulosities down in Sagittarius. M8, I could see the cluster plus the nebulosity. It was a vague it was a fairly obvious patch, but it was quite small. M16, I saw the cluster, but I could only get a sense of vague nebulosity associated with the eagle. Obviously, no signs of the pillars of creation. Messier 17 was actually almost swan-like, but not quite. Messier 20, the nebulosity may have been present, a little bit brighter than the eagle nebulosity as a background kind of glow. I went after NGC 6603. It's an open cluster inside Messier 24. I've seen it up at the eyepiece of a 6-inch scope before, quite apparently, but not on a night like this when you can still see the aqua blue of the night sky due to luminosity from the moon. Well, I'm going to spend a little bit of time right now looking for 6207 near Messier 13. I have seen it through a 6-inch scope on a decent night of seeing. I have yet to turn it up yet at the eyepiece 50x. Now remember, 50x is only 3 millimeters exit pupil, and it's not enough magnification to really darken the background sky. Typically, you want to operate through a 150 millimeter at 75x, 2 millimeters exit pupil. That darkens the background sky enough without over-magnifying and therefore diminishing the average surface brightness presented to the eye. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't turn up 6207. and another nice, hopefully a decent view of Messier 13, the Great Hercules Cluster. I'll report back on that, and then that will be it for the evening, at least as far as recording and annotating observation results. Okay, going to sign off now. No sign whatsoever, 6207. Went back and revisited NGC 5907 in Draco. No sign of it, and in fact, when I went to look at 5866, which I had seen earlier, it was even tougher now. So the moon is definitely washing the sky. It is now large and in charge. That is it for this evening, and this will be the end of my Binoviewer explorations. Next time out, I'll probably just go ahead and mount the 0 on the 150 millimeter eddy in the observatory. Well, with that I say carpe noctem.